Hey everyone, I wanted to do another quick video before I got out of here. Something to look for when you are getting ready to move a house. Things to go check when you're going to move a house. And I thought I was done running my mouth. Put the old flashlight. There we go. Things to look for. Your mover may ask you how many axles there are. This will be complicated for some. So instead of saying, I don't know, you come out here and you look. You say, there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. Total 5 axles. So that means you're going to need 10 tires. You'll say, hey, are the tires there? Yeah. Now, some people are not going to want to run old tires. Me, I'll run old tires. Reason being, as long as they're Goodyear. Something about those old Goodyears, those things, man, they were made better. They were made so much better than the Chinese crap we got today. They just were. No offense to Mr. Jing and the People's Liberation Army. So, here are things you're going to tell you to look at is kind of the condition of them. If you look down here, kind of down through there, kind of down through there, they all look like they're okay. But then you kind of look at that one. There we go. I just spotted that. Kind of look at that one. It looks like it's got kind of a cool little swale. Might be hard to tell, but you can see the top of the tire is leaning in. And then the axle itself, if you look close enough, has a little bit of it kind of has a dip right there. What that means is that this hub, the spindle right there holding this thing on, is canted in. It's got way too much camber. So it's in like that. That means this axle is going to want to get replaced. So you tell your guy, whoever's doing the move, say, well, you got one brake axle, it's going to want to get moved. And the other thing that you can look at or get replaced is, and you look at the whole thing, it looks like an upside down smiley. Now, that kind of says, that looks like a smiley. It's high on the outside and lower in the middle. And it's supposed to look like a big old frown, kind of like this, where it's high in the middle and lower on the outside. So this one looks okay. This one, kind of look at that one. Same thing right there. Look at that. We got a little bit of a upward ski slope. We got the camber in the middle of the axle like we're supposed to. And then right there, a little bit more of an upward ski slope. And then kind of looking down through there, those look okay. Going back to look okay. So you kind of start looking. Do these things look straight? Or do they should look like a little bit of a hump, and right in the middle, kind of right in the middle, there should be a crown, a high spot. The reason being, when these axles are loaded, you want, if there's any flex, there's any flex in them, you want the things to straighten out. But if they're already straight and there's flex, then they kind of go the wrong way. They potentially fold. Other stuff you want to look at, come up here and you find the tongue. The tongue is probably the one part of the house that takes, I gotta believe, probably the most abuse. It's one spot that translates all the force of the truck to the chassis of the house. Come along here, look for significant signs of pitting. Pitting is just like what it sounds like, big holes. If you can see daylight through the metal I-beam, if you can come up here and you can see through the other side, not to insult your intelligence, but that is bad. You don't want to be able to see the other side. This metal has to be nice and solid. The bottom flange right here has to be nice and solid. So is the top flange. We're going to have probably, specifically on this house, My best guess is between 8,000 and 9,000 pounds on this particular, sitting right here on this particular cross member. So you want the metal there in really, really good condition. So that way all the force of the truck starts pulling this way. It translates correctly to both chassis beams back there, and when the truck turns, makes a sharp turn, and it starts dragging and twisting that chassis, the metal's strong enough to be able to withstand that, the torsion or the lateral forces on it. I'm going to come back here, take a look. This tongue, it's old, but it's actually in really, really good condition. So this is a bad example of things to look for, because this one, man, I'd be happy and giggly and everything else. Right there, you want to check to make sure the plates, look good, because usually there's a couple of bolts on each side. You got 4 points of attachment. So you think, you kind of think through there. It's gonna be what, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, a total of 8. Specifically on this one, 8 fasteners holding your house to the truck. That's it. That's all you got. 8 of them bolts. Do not cheap out on the bolts. If you're doing this yourself, do not cheap out on the bolts. Get good grade 8 bolts ready for transportation. Yes, I know. They're $3 a piece. But what that means is they don't snap, because you put a lot of tension on them. Put a lot of torsion on them. They will not shear. That means just, snap. You got a bolt right there and just snaps right there. And all of a sudden, the truck goes one way, the house goes the other way, and you're like, oh golly, that's bad. So those are things you're going to want to look for. As I'm standing here looking at this, something else I'm going to start looking at is right here on this roof. Whoever put these screws in, that guy, he missed. There's some of them over there that aren't really done that well. So before we go and transport this bad boy, we're going to want to sit there and we're going to want to add some additional screws. We're going to want to go through and make sure that all the screws are on there that hold the brand new metal in. And that stuff you put batten strips on, and I'll show you that in a different video. Pretty easy stuff. Pretty easy stuff. So this one, I got no concerns that once I get enough axles underneath it, should go down the road, should be heavy. And as far as weight, you can generally guess, she left the factory, you usually guess about 5,000, 5,500 per axle, and that includes your tongue weight. So you've got 5,000, you got 25. This probably left the factory about 26, 27, 28, probably 27, 28,000. That's what she rolled off the line at. They probably added, we probably got about 5,000 pounds up on the roof. We probably got another 1,000, 1,500 pounds worth of that high density spray foam underneath there. It's thicker in some spots than it was in others. So I'm probably going to count for at least 6,000 pounds, which is one axle. But you know what? You spend the money to get the welder out here, screw it. We're going to add another axle since you're already here, and it doesn't take them long to add the hangers. Probably add one more. And then at that point, that way if you have any issues, we can spread the weight out, and we've got a little bit of room to give, because if we're being really, really honest, we don't know. It's all just an educated guess based off experience. So that's what I would end up doing. This thing, she'll probably roll down the road at either 7 or 8 axles is what I'll have under this old girl. And she'll go just fine. And this will make a nice house for somebody.